All right, just did my first trade of 2017 on VBIO. It's up a few cents a share, nothing huge. At 305, I actually sold out at the high at 312, 313-ish. But we just got this nice little breakout basically over this support here in the 270s where I was buying. And this is the trade. This is it, okay? I want you to clearly see all of my trades, big or small, whether they work or whether they don't. This is it. I was buying it on the last day of 2016 because, frankly, it was such a good setup. I wasn't even planning on trading the last day of 2016, but when you have a good setup and you have that mindset of not needing to trade and only wanting to trade and only doing the trade, if and when there's a good setup, that mentality of thinking of yourself as kind of like a retired trader, only coming back in to, the market if there is a good and worthy play. And this is it, okay? This is exactly how I've made my millions of dollars. This is exactly how my top students have made millions of dollars. Very simple trades. I actually got out at 3.121. I thought that it was 3.13. So, whatever. The point is that I made roughly $400. My commissions were $30. I didn't get my full execution at first. It started spiking a little too quickly at first, so I actually had two orders. So my commissions, I guess I could have done better, could have been $20. But this is exactly what I'm talking about when I say that commissions, even on a small account, are negligible if you focus on the right kinds of plays. Now let's just do some math here. Hold on, let me get out my calculator. Let's just do the math for a second so that we can see exactly what happened here. So I'm in at 276 roughly, right? I'm out at 312. So 312 minus 2.76 divided by 2.76. This is a 13% winner, okay? And here this is it on Profitly. This is the trade. And you can see I made roughly 430 bucks, 12.67% to be exact. This is it. This is it, guys, okay? You do these kinds of trades over and over and over and over again, and it adds up. In one trade, I just grew my $5,000 account nearly 10% overall. And I was a little aggressive, but frankly, it's tough for a multimillionaire to trade with such small amounts. If you're a newbie, you don't necessarily should have to risk this kind of money, okay? You can buy 200 shares of this kind of a stock. Guess what? And you'll still make money. But this is it. And trades like this over and over and over again. And you just have to be able to spot what kind of pattern this is. This pattern was clearly set for either a gap up or a morning spike. As I said in the video lesson over the weekend, 6 out of the past 7 days, this stock has morning spiked. So it's really not that much of a surprise. I could have been wrong. I could be wrong in any play. But through preparation and studying, that's how you get to plays like this. And you cut through all the BS. You ignore the thousands of other stocks that are out there with random charts and random price action. You have to study the past and be prepared. This is why we still have this sale going on, this holiday sale that should have ended January 1st, but I'm extending it a few days just so you can take advantage of these annual deals and of these DVDs. This pattern was straight out of my penny stocking framework DVD, and I did not even use a day trade, okay? So it's an overnight trade. If you want to learn more how to prepare, guess what? See my free trader checklist guide. Here, let's do a little SSS. The trader checklist guide, for those of you who don't know, teaches this whole, prepare kind of thing. And it's basically how to analyze a stock to see if it's worthy of a trade. You have these 7 different indicators. They have to add up, ideally to a 70 or 80 out of 100. So when I was buying it at 277, let's just analyze it for a second. This is why you need to watch Trader Checklist. If you haven't watched Trader Checklist, you're going to be lost for the next few minutes. So please watch it. It's totally free. We're extending that a few more days too. But the pattern and the price, what was I buying? Well, I was buying a multi-day winner, okay, on its first green day. And it spiked in the morning, the next morning, 6 out of the past 7 days. And the spikes weren't just like little, like 5-cent spikes. If you watch my video over the weekend, they were spiking 30, 40, 50, 70 cents a share. Today we got, it was actually kind of weak. It was only like, a 15 cent a share run up from the close, although it did spike into the close because people were anticipating the morning spike today. So from my entry, it was like 50 cents. Fits in line. So now it's, basically spiked, whether it's morning spiking or afternoon spiking, it's kind of like the same move. People are anticipating the morning spikes in the afternoon. That's kind of the same pattern that happened back in 99 and 2000 when I made my first $100,000 as a senior in high school. So it's a good pattern overnight. Right now, I don't care about it. It was specifically for the morning spike or the gap up. I got it. It wasn't a huge, like amazing thing, like where it was like in a spike to like $4 or $5, but I'll give this an 18 out of 20. Risk reward, buying it at 277. My goal was the low threes. I got the goal. I would have liked 330 or 350, but who cares what I like? It is what it is. So I made like roughly 50 cents a share or 40 cents a share. That was probably best case scenario or near best case scenario, making 50 cents a share. And the downside was if it failed to hold that key 270 level, I would have cut losses and I would have lost at like 265, 270-ish, and I would have lost 10, 15 cents a share. So 10 or 15 cents a share of downside and call it 50 cents of upside. So 3-to-1 risk reward. Again, not ideal, but pretty good. We'll give it a 16 out of 20. Ease of entry and exit. This is where I'm going to have to knock this because this is a pink sheet stock. Part of the reason why I sold so quickly today was just because it was so tough to get executions on Friday. Today was pretty easy. I mean, it's already traded, 500,000 shares in the first 20 minutes. But I didn't know how easy it would be based on Friday's experience of trying to get in where I had to waste an extra trade just to, take a sizable position because it was spiking. This is not a good ease of entry and exit. So I'm going to give this a 3 out of 10. Past performance history of spiking. This has spiked, as I said, 6 out of the past 7 days. So this is a 10. What time of day is it? I'm aiming for a morning spike. Morning spikes were my number one most favorite pattern, the past few months. But the past few weeks, I've been gradually shifting more to dip buys. So this is not the highest ranked pattern anymore. I'll give it a 15. But my personal schedule was clear. Reason catalyst, it's a bounce play. It's technical. It's in the weed sector. Not great, but I'll give it a 6 out of 10. And the market environment right now is, very bullish. So we'll give this a 10 out of 10. So it's a 78 out of 100. So on the trader checklist guide, if you know how to value all of these based on some of them are 1 to 10, 1 to 20, you will see that a 78 out of 100 is a very good number. It's tough to do these calculations before you make a trade. Sometimes the stock moves too fast. I didn't even do it. I didn't know the specific numbers. But I've internalized this, so it's kind of cool. Sometimes I do a trade and then I go back and I do these numbers and I'm like, oh shoot, there wasn't actually a great number there. Actually, I'm adding 9 more hours to Trader Checklist, which will be part of the premium Trader Checklist guide. And you'll see I ran the numbers on one of my recent trades on GALE, and it did not, muster up. It did not get to 70 or 80 out of 100. So I kind of wish that I didn't do it, but no one's perfect, okay? You can't pause time and be like, stock market, stand still. Let me just do my calculations. Okay, this is a good trade. You have to get better at this, and you have to internalize it. And sometimes, you'll be off by a little bit. But by including all of these different indicators on every trade and realizing it's not just about news, it's not just about charts, it's a combination. And this is, I call it the Sykes sliding scale. So there are different numbers. And your personal schedule, it doesn't matter what the stock is doing. You have to think about your own schedule too if you're going to be trading it. But anyways, good trade to start the new year. Here it is, $400. Woohoo! But gradually growing my $5,000 account. Again, if you have like a $2,000 account, you can take smaller positions. This could have been like a $200 profit. But a few $100s adds up over time. Sometimes I'm going to lose, but you gradually grow your account. And once you get over the PDT rule, you can do more trades. The PDT rule is not that bad. It protects newbies from themselves. I see the number one problem with you guys is not just not cutting losses quickly, but over trading. So I don't mind doing one trade a day or two trades a day. And this was an overnight trade. This doesn't even count against the PDT rule. So don't be afraid. If you've studied and you prepared, then you know that holding stocks overnight can work. But you gotta study and you gotta prepare. Don't just hold stocks overnight if you have no idea the patterns. And if you want to learn the patterns, watch these guides. You should have all watched my penny stocking part 2, and penny stocking framework. These guides are crucial. And as you see, I mean, the price is now 50% off during this holiday sale. You can pay for all of them in one good trade. And Spikeability should be watched too, and How to Make Millions in Trading Tickers. Those are my favorite DVDs out of all of them. Also, you should watch Bitcoin Basics. Bitcoin is hot again. I probably should learn that. I just haven't had time, One trade at a time, trades like this, and then, getting better and really analyzing the different indicators and realizing that it's not just based on one indicator, but multiple. And I could probably add even more, but I wanted to keep it kind of simple. And you can see here, this was ranked pretty well on my scale here up to 100. And understand also with trader checklists in this thing, it's not an exact science. Ease of entry and exit, maybe it's a 2 more now that I think about it. Past performance history of spiking, it's a 10. I can't change that. Reason catalyst, maybe this is a 5, So it doesn't have to be like, oh, it's a 76 or a 78 or an 82. As long as you get a basic range, this is not going to be, no matter how much I change these, if I try and think about it for an extra few seconds or minutes, this will never be like ranked a 40 out of 100 or a 30 out of 100. It's always going to be around 70, 75, 80. And that is, the basic number that I use to take a trade, where I think it's a good risk-reward trade. It has good potential upside. And I'm actually working on future chapters of Trader Checklist to talk about short selling. I understand that in the first 11 hours, I did not talk about short selling at all. So the cool thing is I can keep updating, and we're going to start learning about short selling. But in this bull market, shorts have had a tough time. So plays like this is really what you should be focusing on, especially a lot of you newbies. Short selling can be complicated, and it's tough when you have a small account and you have to, be careful with which trades you can take and which brokers have borrows. So you're kind of getting started at the right time, a lot of you newbies. This is a very good market. There's a good play or 2 or 3. I see IDXG is spiking. INVT is also spiking. KOPN. So we already have like 4 or 5 good potential plays today. So if you miss one play, don't feel too bad. There's usually another one around the corner. So you don't have to have like this fear of missing out. That said, I wouldn't necessarily have 3, 4, 5 positions at one time. I'm going to go and look at the market right now and see what to do. But right now, I just wanted to go over this trade because this is my first trade of the year. It worked out nicely. 13% gains add up. Obviously, I would have liked a 20 or a 30% gain, but, I'll take a 12% gain overnight. A lot of people in traditional finance try to make 12% for the year, and they think that's amazing. And, this is like an 8% gain already on day 1 of 2017 for me. This is why it's so laughable with this traditional finance and this conservative bullshit. Penny stocks, the hated upon niche of Wall Street. I'm the wolf of Wall Street, boo. Well, I don't know. These patterns work for me. If you look at these patterns right and you look at these stocks right, rather than just trying to invest in them and hold on to them forever like lotto tickets, I think that's the misguided approach. But if you just use their volatility and you learn what patterns are predictable, you can do pretty well. So that's it. Let's make 2017 great. Leave a comment with the word great if you've made it through this entire video lesson. I'm curious to see how many of you actually watch these till the end. Thank you very much. I'll see you guys in the chat room.
My name is Tim Sykes, and I teach people to trade stocks. I am a self-made multimillionaire.
So this is the ideal trade that I'm going to talk about. I want you guys to understand every single aspect of this trade.